He is kind and compassionate, and he is a powerful leader.
And was absolutely inspired by you.
And he is a role model in my life, a big motivator in my life. He keeps me going, keeps me fighting.
A place for men to get together, to connect, share, learn, grow, have fun, just be with each other.
And to have an older person look at them and not shy away from it, not try to pretend that they shouldn't feel it, that they have the rest of their life ahead of them, all those platitudes which never flew for me, well, they don't fly now either.
Yeah, I show up and do my work. I have for 10 years.
And my mission is to empower those around me through acceptance of not having to be perfect.
All this support helped me take the risk to shed my armor and know that I can take care of myself in this world without the armor.
But what he taught was a sense of truth and reality in the body.
It meant so much to me to have you and other warriors there as an example of men who care and feel and aren't afraid to share their feelings.
In addition to his great dedication, has demonstrated so much compassion and kindness to the home.
Water means water.
Dan, you changed my life by creating and continuing to be dedicated to Father-Son Weekend. Father-Son Weekend is a gathering of men from all over the nation, and it is a weekend filled with events and activities and games and fun, but the underlying kind of through line for Father-Son Weekend is the idea of, what it means to begin to become a man.
And it really boils down to a very simple, clean statement. I love it. It's all about creating stronger fathers. It's about modeling what it means to be a father for my son. It means allowing other dads to get together with each other, with their children, with their fathers, and say, hey, this is what it's about for me. What's it about for you? So there's a part on the weekend, the Father and Son Weekend, that just fills me up spiritually. It's called the Compass Ceremony. It's a time unlike any other time where fathers get to cleanly and clearly honor their sons. To say, look them in the eye and say, you are awesome because, boom, boom, boom. I love you because, boom, boom, boom. And then it flips around and the sons get to honor their fathers. And that in itself is another thing of beauty, especially when a 5-year-old son who is just as clear as a glass of water, unjaded by life, steps up onto a small podium and says to his dad, Dad, I love you because you spend time with me. I don't know, what more is there to life?
In the new country of Kosovo is the city of Mitrovica, which is divided between the Serbs on the north and the Albanians in the south. And the Serbs and Albanians have been fighting each other for centuries, and I mean centuries. We have a rock and roll school with one branch in the north and one branch in the south.
It makes not just me, but all of us forget the problems of Kosovo, and we have chance to talk and to chat with the other students from the north part.
Our parents didn't have the chance to speak to them or to meet them, and now we do, and it's great.
That's a younger vision their elders haven't all come round to.
Every summer in August, we bring a group of musicians from the south and from the north to Skopje in Macedonia for a summer school. And at the summer school, we never talk about peace or reconciliation or ethnicity. All we talk about is, we need a drummer over here, we need a vocalist over here. Who's a vocalist? We need a keyboard here, a bass player. And these bands form interethnic bands without regard to whether one is a Serb or an Albanian. At the end of the summer school, the kids come back to their respective cities, north and south, all wearing the same t-shirt that says Mitrovica Rock School. And they continue to be friends on Facebook, on blogs, on email. And last summer, some kids in the north invited their colleagues from the south to cross the bridge over the river Ibar, a bridge which nobody ever crosses because it's too dangerous. And lo and behold, a group of kids from the south crossed the bridge that nobody crosses to have a jam session and a party with their friends in the north. That's the power of music. That's the power of what Musicians Without Borders does.
You know, I look at that picture of what I used to look like, and that's like looking at an alien for me. I don't even know who that guy was. I'm really proud of what I've done. And I know that I couldn't have done this on my own. I had to be part of something that was bigger than me to find the power to do it. I'm a judgmental guy. I've always been a judgmental guy. And when I'm walking down the street and I see some guy walking towards me who's 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight and telling himself he's 20 or 30 pounds overweight and not getting the grip, I think, what's up? Just take care of yourself. The discomfort that I went through to get to the point where I could lose my weight, it lasted a couple of weeks and it was over. And then there's all this joy that comes afterwards. Get a grip and face your demons. I found the support to be able to do that. It's really not that tough. So just go do your work. And that's what it is. I do my work. When I'm upset about something, I know that there's a piece that's about me. So that's either a bucket or I got to clear with somebody, and I go do it. So my gift to my daughter, Perry, is that she knows that I love myself and love her enough that I'm going to be around. She trusts that I'm going to be there to be a grandfather, to be her father. She's not going to come knocking on my door in my apartment and find me dead on the floor because I weigh 200 pounds too much.
Jeff, I have to thank you for our encounter December 9th, 2010, when I ran into you at a networking event. And that night, as you know, I was dealing with learning that I had to lose some weight in order to give a kidney to a family member. After seeing you and the change just physically, and then also hearing your story, as you shared with me the change you went through in the last year since we'd seen each other, blew me away. And was absolutely inspired by you as I left the event, inspired to go and lose my 35 pounds, which was nothing in my eyes compared to what you were doing. It moved me through the next 3 months, and I got to say that evening changed me. And for that, I was able to reach my goal because of you sharing your story with me, and I was able to give a kidney to a family member. So I thank you for that, Jeff.
About 2 years ago, in fact, it was 2 years ago on Memorial Day, I woke up having severe abdominal cramps and severe pain, and I was having what I now know as a gallbladder attack, and they told me at the hospital that my gallbladder was bad and that it had to come out, and I had to go into the hospital for surgery, and frankly, it just scared me to no end. I was 55 years old at the time. It was like the first salvo in bad health for me, and I felt like I had just opened the door and invited all kinds of nasty stuff into my life, like diabetes and cancer and heart attack and stroke. And for me, it was only by the grace of God that it was my gallbladder, something relatively minor and innocuous today, that gave me the wake-up call that I needed. But it did exactly what I needed it to do. It scared the hell out of me. And I just decided that I couldn't deny this anymore. I had to make some changes in my life, or my life was going to end much sooner than I really wanted it to. And I had to do some introspection and wonder whether it was to myself whether it was okay for me to check out early, and decided that no, it's not. And if that wasn't going to be the outcome, I had to do something different. I've certainly worked on myself over the last 10 years, and more to the point, about 2 years ago, I was introduced to a 12-step program for compulsive eaters, which I embraced. And since then, I've lost 100 pounds, now kept it off for a full year, and have gone on to take on some really neat physical challenges, including this past February, I did the hustle up to Hancock and walked up to the 95th floor of the John Hancock building. It was pretty cool.
Right after Cecilia was born, she had a little difficulty breathing, and the doctor said, you know, like she had a couple short, like, and then she was having a hard time. So
soon it was clear to their doctor that this was much more serious.
And he said to Tom, please call an ambulance, we've got to go.
Cecilia had been born with kidney and lung problems so severe that the doctors said she wouldn't make it. As Holly and Tom reeled from this devastating news, someone at Children's Memorial Hospital asked them if they wanted a photographer in the room. They thought the idea was odd, but they were told they could ask him to leave at any time.
So we said yes. We went and called the rest of our family to join us, and then we were able to have her in our arms pretty much for the rest of the night.
The photographer is Todd Hochberg. About 10 years ago, Todd was a staff photographer at Advocate Healthcare. Then, a chaplain asked him to take a picture of a child who had died.
It was only a short 45 minutes, but it really changed my life.
Todd had recently been interested in what are called memorial photographs, pictures of adults and children near or after death. For many families at the time, they might have been the only way to keep a likeness of a loved one who had died. After Todd photographed that first family, he was so moved by the experience, and the family so grateful for the photos, that he began to offer his services to other families who had lost children, first at Advocate and then at other hospitals. And from the start, he did more than simple posed portraits. In the last 10 years, Todd Hochberg has photographed more than 150 families. Sometimes art with a purpose can become less of a personal expression, but in this case, the opposite seems to be true.
It wasn't until I began doing this work that I considered myself an artist, because it involved my whole being. When I'm making these pictures, I feel this connection that everything else falls away. The main thing is I don't want to interfere with their experience. I don't want to interject me into their experience.
All of Todd's photos are black and white. There's no flash and no posing, and never a fee.
Yeah, I could not possibly ask parents to pay for the work.
In recent years, we've received over 100 applications, and we've helped over 50 homeowners each of the past 2 years under John's leadership. These are people who have nowhere else to turn and who are in desperate need of repairs and improvements. And not only do we serve the homeowners, but we serve wonderful, dedicated volunteers who want to give back to their communities. John enables the organization to allow individuals the privilege of volunteering. That is a priority to him, to provide a rewarding experience for the many volunteers who are helping in these endeavors.
I guess part of my calling is to serve other people. It's been, I guess, something spiritually and also taught by my family. By day I'm a banker and an accountant, and it's very frustrating sometimes to feel that I'm making an effect in the world. This is a real great way for me to make a tangible connection with people out there, and there's just great need out there. Part of it's the challenge that we have is that a lot of people are embarrassed to ask for help, and so we have to get over that hurdle. And then sometimes when people, when we go in and help them, they're sometimes embarrassed that they needed it. And so we try to counsel our people to go in there and be very mindful of what, the dignity that we need to try to keep of these people. So much of our work seems like it's just, we want to just go in and just do the work real hard and get in and out. And that's maybe some hardcore warrior energy, but we also need to be very cognizant of the needs of people there and maintaining their dignity so they feel that we're listening to them and care for them. That's as big of the part of our job as just really just fixing things for them.
I had my first interaction a little over 10 years ago, and on that weekend I think found a grounding and a base which has helped me in my life and given me a confidence for the work that I do. And through Path to Spirit and other subsequent interactions, I've found a voice to do what I do. And so I'm incredibly grateful and honored to have been part of that. I have the great privilege of working for a wonderful organization called the Nature Conservancy, and I work to protect large river systems around the world. Particularly, I focus on North America and the Mississippi River system. And these systems bring me close to my mission, which is about building community among people and nature. For ultimately, we don't get to choose our own Mississippi rivers. We choose whether or not to interact in creating and managing a sustainable Mississippi River for ourselves and those who come after us. The way we grow our food, the way we gain access to energy, transport our products, and all those kinds of activities ultimately get expressed through a large river system like the Mississippi River that drains 31 states. And so it's just a tremendous opportunity to work on the challenge of managing this river system for our benefit, but also for those who come after us. As we reach out tonight, all of us, and take a drink of water, it's at that moment that we're connected to those upstream who made decisions about how to manage that water, whether conscious or not. And what we choose to do with that glass of water impacts thousands and millions of people that come after us. So it's that connection to each other through freshwater systems that really speaks to me and my mission. And so it's just a wonderful honor to be recognized for this work. Thank you all. I wish I could be with you. I'll be on a different river this weekend, but I will be thinking of all of you and the spirit of community that you embody. Thank you.
Gabriel, my yoga daddy. That's how I like to think of you. You have taught me so much. I am so uncomfortable in front of a camera, and yet I am here because of you. So I would do anything for you. I appreciate so much the generosity of your heart and soul, and the friendship and the support and encouragement that you have given me through the years and continue to give me every day of my life. Thank you.
I like to start off by saying a stock phrase I've used for many years, which was, I've been looking for the ritual elder my whole life, and I'm turning into the ritual elder. I remember when I was a young man, one of the things that was both shocking and disappointing and surprising was there were no older men that I looked up to, and I didn't have an older man acknowledge me. So I didn't realize at the time that my growth would head me towards a lifestyle where I could embody that archetypal energy within myself and then spend a lifetime blessing young men and young women. You know, some people may not like the word authentic because it's connected to authority, but what makes you an authentic person is that you're living your truth, you're walking your talk. So one of my phrases is, I don't care whether or not I inspire you, I care that I'm an inspired man myself. And if I'm living with my passion, that's going to inspire another person to step into their power and do what they feel is they're following their bliss, as we say. But remember, following your bliss, it ain't whimsical and it ain't easy. And so I don't have to tell them what I do, but I commit myself to my personal practice, and by doing it for now over 4 decades, that has a certain kind of power in it. I'd like to think that when I say these words to people, they hear the ring of truth in it, and they respond appropriately by stepping into their truth.
At the time I was a freshman, I was kind of a lost cause a little bit, you know, because I grew up in an environment of drugs and alcohol and abuse and gangs.
One of the things I tried to help him to see was that even though he was justified for feeling the way he was feeling in class, maybe he had a right to feel that way he was expressing himself was not getting him what he wanted. It was getting him negative stuff. It was getting him to detention.
I'd come get him out of suspension and we'd talk, and we spent the next 3 years basically doing BAM work that we do.
Yeah, I love this guy because he understands what it takes to fight through those emotions. He understands what it takes to fight through those obstacles.
I feel great that I have this relationship with Vinny and countless other boys that I've served and I've provided service to. I would not want to live my life without this purpose. I recall 4 years ago, I called I was going through a rough time where I was thinking, I'm not making enough money and I'm not doing this, so you know I need to change jobs, and I had an offer to go somewhere where the money would have been much more grand, and so my wife and I were getting excited and happy, and we're gonna be able to do this and that, and money's never been there. And I was gonna leave this work before BAM, you know, BAM was still developing, and I called my Uncle Jimmy. He's the first Mexican-American president of the Teamsters in history. And he retired a wealthy man. And so I figured who better to call him. He started from the docks when he was 19. So I gave him a call and I said, Uncle Jim, what do I do here? You know, I needed some fathering. You know, and he said, you have to wake up and you have to love what you're doing and have a purpose. You have to, you know, because it doesn't matter how much money you're going to make. And I'm thinking of some great wisdom he's going to give me. And I'm thinking, that's it? And I thought about it, and it really sat with me, and I didn't leave, and I stayed with the job. And man, am I so grateful, because I don't make the most money in the world, but man, I love what I do when I wake up. I love going to work with these youth. I love living my personal mission through my work. Through my work. What I mean by through my work, I mean my actual job. I get to live my personal mission through my work. And so I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I love you, I love you, I love you all every day, because you cared for me in such a special way. That's why I praise you, I lift you up, and I magnify your name. That's why my heart is filled with praise. Yeah. When I was younger, I used to have a lot of issues at home with my stepfather and just a whole bunch of drama at home and stuff like that. But when I came to Soul Children, because of the discipline, I never, ever in a million years acted up, never had an attitude. I might be mad one day, but I would never show it in rehearsal because I used to be scared of Mr. Whitman. So he put fear in me, and he was a very positive male figure in my life because after my father died, I kind of got lost. I really did, and I was actually gonna give up.
Soul Children of Chicago is a group of young people, presently just African American, but it's not limited to African American. Young people who have become to know their purpose and their destiny, and they get that warrior spirit in them. That they begin to understand how to fight for that they believe in, and to understand who they really are, and to be able to know how that what they do impacts others, and how to impact nations and others of other cultures, of other nationalities. Kids who begin to understand their purpose in such a way that they begin to walk with a pride and walk with such a sense of, I am able to make a difference kind of attitude. Soul Children have been doing this now for 30 years, and so we've been seeing it. We've been to Nigeria, we've been to Israel, we've been to Sweden, we've just come back from Norway. So in reference to being able to go all over the world and to take your gift and to take your purpose and to be able to project that into other people and inspire people, that's what it is that Soul Children represents. Impacting a generation, knowing how to leave a mark and leave a fragrance that people will never ever forget.